Hi, everyone. We're here to talk to you about social media for FRC teams as part of Any First University Day. We're so excited to be here. As you can see, the partial title of our session is More Than Robots, the big hashtag for FIRST all across the board. But to introduce ourselves, go ahead, Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm a junior, and this is my 7th season in FIRST. I'm a part of 2 teams, Buzz Robotics FRC 175 and the Electric Eagles FTC 12219. I'm in charge of most of the social medias for both of my teams, and I am also a mechanical team member.
Awesome. And my name is Sam Spain. I am the lead mentor for Athena's Warriors, which is FRC Team 3182. I try to help as many teams as possible, but I'm in charge of Athena's, so I put that here. I also volunteer coordinate at both the FRC and the FLL levels. The FLL Explore levels, I hear. I have been in FIRST. This is my 19th season. The one starting in January will be number 19. I'm an alum of the Galehawks from Shelton, Connecticut. Athena's Warriors is in Hartford, Connecticut. And then in my normal daytime role, not a volunteer position, I'm a client success manager for a company that does websites and marketing and communications for schools. So I like to stay involved in all kinds of things that relate to getting your message out there, having a website, having social media, and having a brand. So what you see here, these logos, this is going to help us stay on track throughout, but you've got the smiley face for our happy Buzz Robotics team, and you've got the owl for Athena's Warriors. Okay, so we know that you guys have the chat on Twitch. Can you comment there what social media networks you use? We've got some of the logos up here on the right. We're going to see if we are able to get a sense of what people are putting in the chat. It's possible we will not, but we're going to try it. Megan, what social media does your team use?
Team primarily uses Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we also have a few videos up on YouTube, but the big 3 that we use are the first 3 that I mentioned.
Excellent. Same here. We've got a Facebook, a Twitter, and an Instagram. And then we have an alumni group on LinkedIn, and we archive our videos about the robot or the Chairman's Award on YouTube. We're not really on Snapchat or anything else like that right now. All right, well, let's get started. Don't forget that if you guys have questions, you can put them into the chat when you have them.
So starting off, we're going to go over the big 3, which is the purposes that each network serves. So starting off with Facebook, when you're posting on here, you're going to want to have longer text and photos and videos, and you're going to want to post to an audience like your parents and grandparents. So just keep in mind who you're marketing it to. Instagram, you're going to want a lot of pictures because Instagram is mostly pictures. And there's also a feature on Instagram for stories, and these can collect little scenes and moments from your day, and you can post as much as you want on here. And Instagram is mostly, you're gearing it towards a younger audience, so peers, team members, etc. Twitter, you can send out links promoting events or other accounts. Since you have a limit on how much you put in a tweet, links are the best way to go, or short tweets with photos, and you can play-by-play, which means you can live tweet an event that you're at, or just continuously tweet throughout the day.
Awesome. Yes, most of the teams that popped into the chat did say that they were on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so that's why we call them our big 3. The others, when we get into LinkedIn, this can be great for keeping your alumni in touch with each other. It is a networking platform. It's for people to find others at different jobs or career paths or just general big picture programs that people are interested in. So using LinkedIn to stay in touch with your former team members and let them interact with each other and keep sharing what they're learning, maybe in college, maybe beyond, is going to be huge on LinkedIn. It's also a good place where, because it's focused on the job networking, where your sponsors will all be. So thanking your sponsors on LinkedIn as opposed to, say, Facebook or Instagram can have a higher impact. And it's good to just have a small presence here on LinkedIn to help connect your alumni to that bigger FIRST network. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, second to Google. People are searching all the time for how-to videos. You're about to sit down and cook dinner. So it's, how do I chop onion? They're going to paint a room. They're going to build something. They're going to try something they've never done before, and they're going to search, how do I do this? So as a robotics team, you guys have a lot of moments that you could teach people an answer to a how do I question. You can consider vlogging your team meetings, giving an overview, since the normal robot build process can be only over the course of a few months. You can do weekly progress updates, things like that. And you can, just like what my team does, host a video archive of important information. Now, we talked about Snapchat earlier, but Snapchat is making way for TikTok. And I personally don't have TikTok. So please help me, Megan.
Okay, so TikTok is videos under 60 seconds and purely only videos. This is a good way to gain reach and find other teams. Not many teams have TikTok, but the ones that do have an increased reach, and they're able to get a big audience, and then that can give way to your other social medias, so you can plug your other accounts, and it's just good for showing off robot stuff, showing off team stuff, and that sort of content.
Awesome. So the goal of social media is engagement. You want to be able to post information and have it be seen, but it's much more important for that information to be liked, commented upon, shared, or have a reaction to it. You see the reactions of like, love, laugh, wow, sad, angry. I know there's care now, but social media that's just posted with no interaction is out there in the void. So the engagement is really defined by this interaction with a post on one of your profiles.
So next, what inspires engagement? This can be many things, like humor, nostalgia, being personable towards your audience, having really good content, helpful content, having a video, or asking for engagement. So off to the side, you can see that our post, my team's post, got some attention from FIRST because we used a FIRST mandated hashtag to get some engagement on our post. And then they reposted and they said, show us how your team is meeting during this season. So using hashtags is a big way to get engagement, and we will go more into that later. All right, next is visuals, and some stats are that posts with photos have 37% increase in engagement, and a video generates more engagement than any other type of content on Instagram. Your ultimate goal when posting on social media for your team should be to have the post grab people's eyes as they're scrolling and design it in a way that they'll want to see more. So if your post is boring, they're just going to scroll right by, and that's not going to do anything for you. But some other ways to make this look nice is to use programs such as Canva, where you can turn text into a photo, so then you can post it. And an example of this we have in the right-hand corner is, in a free society, you get what you celebrate. So that's a quote by Dean Kamen, put into Canva and turned into a cute little picture.
That would look great on Instagram. Here's some other examples.
So going along with the previous things, these are posts that have gotten the most engagement on our pages. So on the top, my team's page has high-def pictures of our robots, memes for Valentine's Day, cupcakes, anniversaries, and just students being goofy. And this is very appealing to people that see your content and they say, hey, that's kind of cool, I want to see more. And then they'll click on your page to see more. So
yes, and we have the same kind of examples on our page. Instagram in particular, all of these posts are from Instagram, favors pictures of people, faces, are going to be given more screen time, and the algorithm is going to push them to the top so that when you log into Instagram and you're scrolling through your feed, it's going to be favoring these pictures with people. So we get a lot more when we post our students. When we could not see our students in person throughout this summer, we were able to post things like on Star Wars Day, May 4th, our little baby Yoda doing a force hover of a pin, and that got a lot of likes. So I'm trying to post things that are either funny or a moment in time, kind of like the Buzz student with the patch panel on his face, are going to get good engagement. We just talked about algorithms. So using some things that we know about Facebook, Instagram to know when to post and what kinds of information will get that, have your post be seen by the most amount of people, will be very important. One of the ways to think about it is if you post in the middle of the night, and Instagram may show a post to someone the next morning, but they may not. Something else might have come up. So we see over on the right this Facebook global engagement that the highest engagement is coming on the weekdays, right in the middle of the day. So when people, they wake up, they might be checking their email, not social media. People also are not awake really early in the morning, 3 a.m., not so much late at night. But somewhere in the middle of the day, they're taking a break for lunch and they are liking your post, they're commenting, they're sharing. And that's when you should be posting. Other ways that you can kind of use the algorithm to get on the good side and get your information seen would be to promote your posts or to use hashtags that are relevant or trending. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now that we know what engagement is, let's build an effective strategy to increase our engagement. One of the most important things to remember is that you should always be consistent. My team, we're taking a little hiatus right now. We didn't do a lot during the summer. We have not been posting regularly. This is not ideal. We want to be regularly posting. And if we're not posting, we want to be interacting. So commenting on our followers' posts or liking other people's content. So kind of that mix is going to lead to your success. I know it's very easy to take the same picture, the same text, and copy and paste it everywhere on all of your different accounts. But each social media platform has content that fits it better. YouTube, obviously, videos. Instagram, like Megan said, pictures. Facebook, more text. Twitter, less text. LinkedIn, all about promotion of a skill or something that is a little more professional in nature. Pinterest, sharing fun recipes. So this graphic is all about, we're posting about donuts. We love donuts. Megan's team does donuts on weekends. My team does donuts on weekends. Everyone loves donuts. Here in New England, you got your Dunkin' Donuts. Everyone's happy. So taking that same thing, the same donut, maybe it's a picture of a donut, maybe it's a video of a donut, and using the different social media platforms to their best ability. And you can kind of see how the content would change. Liking donuts, currently eating a donut, because Twitter is a very now platform. Here's a video of me eating a donut. Here's a good donut recipe. I'm listening to donut music. Like all across the board, the content changes just a little bit. So when you're posting a story on Facebook, you can give it a little more context. You are reaching out to, as Megan said, the older audiences. So explaining what's going on and posting a lot of pictures. Twitter, linking back to your website or your blog post about all of that different content. Instagram, younger audience, have the funny behind the scenes picture of the same thing that you posted to Facebook. So just taking that time to post slightly different things to each platform can be very important. Keeping that in mind, how much is too much posting? So Facebook has not a max, it's never gonna stop you from posting, but after posting twice a day, the engagement we find drops off dramatically. So you're not going to see as much, which means that Facebook isn't necessarily putting your content in front of other people. Facebook also doesn't use hashtags in a way that's not ironic. So you can be using the phrase of the hashtag on a Facebook post, but you're not going to be clicking on that hashtag and searching the way you are on Instagram and Twitter, where you're using the hashtag to find other posts using that content. So while you can post, like use the hashtag in your sentence and draw awareness to that hashtag, it's not really going to have the same effect as Instagram and Twitter. Instagram sees or really wants 1 post per weekday, and 20 posts per month is ideal. And you can use tons of hashtags. More hashtags, the better. Try to reach to all the audiences. Instagram influencers are constantly, the first hashtags are super specific, and then they get more and more general until you get to the point it would be hashtag robot. So super, inclusive of all the different points and purposes of that post. Then Twitter, you can post a lot. Live tweeting is okay. Megan already said that. But you have limited amount of text, so don't use as many hashtags.
So branching off of that, we're going to talk about content strategy. Your end goal of having a team page should be to promote your team in an interesting and engaging way. And some ways to do this is to post content that prompts your audience to engage, and it makes your followers feel connected. So you may achieve this by having story polls, throwback posts, holiday greeting posts, and anything but news, because people don't want to read that. These posts ask for connection and action. So you can get interactive story votes, comments from alumni, and simple holiday greeting responses. So this year and last year, we have an artist that joined our team, and we have been working together to make holiday art, which has our Buzz logo on it. So off to the right side, you can see a couple examples of holidays and important events that we have made art for. These are very colorful, as you can see, and it will prompt people to comment and just wish you like a happy holiday back, or hope you have a first good day of school, that sort of stuff. So that is definitely something that you may want to consider when looking at what content you want to post, because it has been a definite success for my team.
Awesome. So when we talk about hashtags, one way to get your content out there is to use the hashtags that others are using. But when you want to develop a conversation or let other people know when to use a hashtag when they're talking about you, you can create your own branded hashtag. FIRST does this every year. We already looked at this particular post that got the Buzz Robotics Twitter out and about, but they're using the hashtag FIRST Game Changers. And then the main FIRST hashtag is More Than Robots. They've also, they've got some other hashtags here. Now this one, you'd have to know a little bit more about. FIRST Game Changers tells its own story. More Than Robots tells its own story. You'd have to look up what WDCDDD stands for. So when you're creating this hashtag, keep it short, sweet, and easy to remember. Let it tell that story in and of itself. You can put it in your profile bios, tell people to use your hashtag, promote it everywhere, put it on your t-shirts, put it on your website, put it in your emails. But one important thing to think about is that you should test your hashtag. Hashtags are not, once you make it, it's not necessarily yours. The whole point is that it's opening up to a conversation. Now, This one is all in capital letters, First Game Changers. This one's all in lowercase letters, More Than Robots. So depending on how you write the hashtag, look at it in all those different formats and make sure that there's not extra ways that people could interpret the hashtag. Click on the hashtag or search for it the same way we search for More Than Robots on Twitter here, and just see if other people are already using it. Different robotics teams across the country have similar team names to those of us in New England. I think there's another Athena's team somewhere, and we'd like to find them on Instagram and say hi to them, but we want to make sure that our hashtag isn't going to interact with theirs or interrupt their conversations. So just thinking through and testing can be very, very important. And then planning ahead. It's very easy to know that you're going to tweet a lot when you're at a competition, or that Megan's team has a plan for every holiday, which is perfect. But maybe, like my team, you let your social media go all summer. It's totally fine, but we could have avoided that. We could make a calendar of key dates and campaigns. We can make a plan for, it's going to be really quiet at this time, so we're going to develop a whole series of pictures about what we are like as a team. There was a campaign over the summer, I believe started by Team 195, the 12 Days of Outreach, that a lot of teams were participating in as the season was ending in spring. That's a great example of a campaign and a hashtag. With that in mind, you can then schedule which content needs to be shared to promote your events. So you can plan ahead and know that you're not going to be posting too much because you have so many things to share in one day. And then you can map out, are you going to get an artist like Megan's team has to create that picture for the event? Are we going to need a mentor to provide a quote for that content? And we can ask in advance if we know and we're not creating last minute. It's really important to get more people helping with your content creation to take some of the pressure off one social media person.
So now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts and specifics of beyond your posting. So we're going to be covering your profile and policies to make a difference. All right, so first up, we're going to talk about Facebook aesthetics. Your page aesthetics are a very important aspect on how you run your social media page. On Facebook, it's best to have focus on having a cohesive, professional-looking account, so this can be through a very nice and put-together looking profile photo and cover photo. And to the right, you can see my team, our Facebook page. We have our profile photo the same on all of our social medias, so we are easy to find, and it looks very professional and put together. We have team photos, and we just want to pull it all together, so when people look at it, they say, oh yeah, that's the team that wears yellow. That's us. And when working to your audience, most Facebook users fall between 25 and 44, so try and theme and market your post to the right age group. The things that you post can differ, like Sam was talking about earlier. They differ with each platform that you're going to post them on, so just keep that in mind when you are posting. Alright, so next is Instagram aesthetics. There are a lot of different opportunities to change how your Instagram page looks, so a huge aspect to pay attention to is being able to grab people's attention, like we were talking about before. People are just going to scroll by if your content is boring. So you really want to make it so it stands out and people go, whoa! And you could achieve this by having themed highlight covers, a professional but interesting bio, and a theme among your posts. So you can't see our post in the screen grab to the right, but you can see our highlight covers, and that was made with a simple app like Pic Collage. You can put a background and search up some PNGs to go over it, and it looks very put together and nice. Like before, same profile photo, so we're easy to find, and we have a more interesting and colorful bio. You have a letter limit, so we try to make it colorful and have all the necessary information that people need to know it's us. And you can also try to have a theme, including your team's color among your posts. So we try and have some sort of yellow in every single one of our posts because that is our team color. But you can achieve this by doing certain preset filters on Instagram. Before you post, there is the option to put a preset filter. If you choose that one every time, I know a couple teams do that. It just helps to make your page look more cohesive and put together because it's not just random content of different things all over the place.
Yeah, our team uses Clarendon pretty much exclusively. Do you want to talk about Linktree? I think you don't need it anymore necessarily, but it still can be helpful.
When we were working on this, we didn't have our website published because it was still under construction. So we used this nifty little thing called Linktree. You can make an account for free and you can put as many links as you want. You can just, when you click on the link, it just shows everything that you want to promote and you have complete control over what you put on there. So you can input multiple things. Our Linktree had links to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and our website that was under construction at the time. So that is definitely a good resource if you want to have all of your other platforms very accessible to anyone that's viewing your profile. And we had this same link on all of our pages up until about 2 weeks ago.
Now, congrats on the new website.
All right, so another very, very important thing in increasing your engagement is Instagram stories. The story feature on Instagram is a great way to involve your audience and post quick photo or video updates. There are many things available in these story templates, and you can include, like I said before, photos, videos, and text, plus polls, open-ended questions, boomerang videos, hashtags, sliders, timestamps, location geotags, GIFs, and music features. These are all a great way because it's more interactive and people can just tap right through. They don't have to scroll by or like it, and there is no liking in the Instagram stories, but it's just something that you could look at. And these polls and open-ended questions are little features on the top that you can control what you put in and include in your story. But this can give people the opportunity to kind of connect with your team and connect with a question you're asking or info that you want to know. So, for example, we've done a couple story posts of just like a simple boomerang video, and then we did a poll on top of it, like, are you excited for this season? And people could slide to how excited they were. So that's definitely a good thing to consider. And the more active that you are on your stories, the more your account will get attention. And like I have mentioned before, this gives you a better reach since they are recommended by the algorithm to your Explore page. You don't have to be following a hashtag to see someone else's recommended stories, like what happens with posts, but you could just be tapping through, and if you looked at robots, most likely if your story has a robot in it or hashtag robot, it will pop up. So. All right, so these are some examples of our stories that we've had at the beginning of this season. The first one had a GIF and it just said riveting on it. And then there are little drawing tools. So we did a glowy beam thing around our rivet gun. Our second one was a video. You can't see it here since it's just a screenshot, but you can make it look nice. Different fonts, different colors of text. You can draw little borders behind it to grab people's eyes. And the second one, we had a theme of red, so it all goes together. And then we used the More Than Robots hashtag to get on more Explore pages. Stories are good for just silly stuff. So, like Sam mentioned earlier, everybody loves donuts, especially our teams on the weekends. So we would sometimes post about students having donuts, and we would joke that it's the thing that keeps us going. It gives us energy for the day. As well as the location geotags. These are a huge help because it gives more traffic to the place that you tagged it. So I want to say last year we did a fundraiser at Rensselaer Field, and I geotagged our location, and I used the More Than Robots hashtag, so people can see where you were, and it's just thanking your students and parents and volunteers for helping out, and that connects you with your audience. Alrighty, so strategic following. This is a very important thing. Following appropriate accounts that are relevant to your team is a good way to grow your following and be seen by others. So I'm not saying just go and spam follow everyone that you see, because that is probably not going to get you anywhere. But you can aim to follow appropriate accounts, like if your sponsors have accounts, businesses that help you out, other teams who are local that you have been on alliance with before, or teams that you want to connect with. Branching off of that, you can follow teams that you wish to interact with or see more of their content if it's really interesting, and others who are related to FIRST. So there are some side projects like First Like a Girl. We really like their content, so we follow them to see when they update, and then we're going to talk about that more a little bit later.
Yes. So while we're doing all of this, Megan, you run your team's social media. 3182 has a mix of students who can post, and then I'm a mentor, so I'm on the account. This is very important for building a social media policy. So before you jump in, we already talked about having a calendar to help stay organized, but your policy can kind of be that one level above to help you know what is appropriate to post, when is appropriate to post, who is good to follow, what messages are, or what to do with messages, what's appropriate to respond to, how to deal with comments, and other kind of privacy guidelines. So we think it's very important to not post too much, again, except on Twitter. Twitter is kind of its own thing with the live tweeting, but just kind of make sure that you're being active and maybe come up with your general guideline of how you're going to build your calendar, of how many posts you're going to strive for each week. When you're following each other, try not to follow private accounts as the team. Follow other teams, as Megan was saying, follow your sponsors, follow your school, follow your community, but you should have some sort of policy about following alumni and following the students on the team. So kind of keeping that in mind. I used to work at a school, and my rule was I don't follow any student on social media unless they have graduated, and even then I probably still don't. So messages, these would be direct messages. It's important to kind of pay attention to them, and this is why you could have a mentor on there. There might be all kinds of questions about how do I join the team, or can I come to the meeting, or when can I watch you competing live, or anything like that. But you may also receive inappropriate messages, and so it's important for an adult to be there to block and report those messages. With comments, it's one thing to be receiving rude and inappropriate comments, but it's another thing to be receiving what we call like the tough questions. So kind of looking through different comments, it is important to not just censor someone by deleting things. So in that sense, again, I go back to I work for and with schools. So when schools get weird messages, it's always important to say that you're open to a conversation. So the team mentor, open to a conversation, let's chat about that. But if it's just completely irrelevant commentary, someone's being a little ridiculous on your posts, you could delete them. But mostly just try to respond to everything. Responding to comments is engagement. So that could be very important. And then in terms of a guideline, you can have as many of these parts of your policy as you need. But one important one, I think, is to always have an adult who can be logged into the account just in case. On a completely different track, you would have social media accounts that are talking about what your team is doing. Maybe you're trying to get out in the community and find new students, find more mentors, do all kinds of different things. But one way that you could be using social media is to influence sponsorship. You can follow these steps to make that easier. Answer these questions. Who does your community trust? Does their network have reach? And would their message resonate? So this is in terms of, do you have a local sponsor that your community trusts? Do they have a large network themselves? Or is there a person at your school? Or is there a influencer in your community? And does their message fit with FIRST? So we always, I think a lot of the New England teams in Connecticut specifically have UTC or now RTC as a sponsor. And so they're constantly posting. I scrolled through the UTC Twitter earlier this morning, and they had a lot of information about their employees who volunteer for FIRST, only within the past few months. And so that's something that you could retweet or comment on, and that would be considered appropriate. And if they're already a sponsor, great. But if they're not, that could be one way to connect with them and hope for sponsorship. From there, you can ask your current and prospective sponsors to share specific messages. So give them the content, make it really easy for them. Give them your press release, give them your quote, give them your photos, give them your event dates, give them your fundraiser dates, and ask them to share that information. If you don't ask, they might not do it automatically. So just putting it out there in an email or in a direct message can be a huge win. And then always reciprocate. If you've asked them to share something of yours, you should share related and relevant things of theirs. So when your sponsors are out in the community and doing great things for their general audience, share that STEM-related message on all of your accounts. And some final suggestions.
So, off with our final part. If you are looking to make other social media accounts, try and have the handles that you already use across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Try and have them all be the same, because then people, when they go looking for your accounts, will be like, I can't find them. But then it's just your team name instead of your team number. So we recently, just last week, changed all of Buzz's handles to FRC 175, just because we feel it's easier to find across the board. And if you have to pick and choose, start with Facebook and then add Instagram and consider Twitter if you are looking to start branching out onto different social medias.
And then we talked a little bit at the beginning about LinkedIn groups for alumni. One idea would be to see if there's an alum who would consider managing that. It's a group on LinkedIn, if they would be the one to manage that for you, so you don't have one other thing. I think same thing with Athena's Warriors that Buzz did just recently. We did it maybe a year ago where we changed all of our handles to Team 3182, even though that was what it was on Instagram, but Twitter was different. They become very easy to change. Once you've made the change, you can still find your users who might be used to the handle that you had before can still find you. Okay, so I know that we have lots of questions. I'm going to say them out loud, and then Megan, if you want to chime in on anything, you just speak up. All right. What do I do if I have a mundane topic to post about? How related should an image be to what I'm saying? Megan, what do you do when the content isn't that exciting?
When the content isn't that exciting, if you just want to post one thing and you're trying to get one message across, I would recommend to group it in with different posts or pictures. So if you're saying like, we have an event, come to it, or we have a thing, definitely if you want to make it look exciting, if it's just like an announcement, use Canva, because then you can have it look more aesthetically pleasing to your page. And then if it's just a team event that you want people to come to and it's not super exciting, like, we have this super epic thing to tell you, and it's just like, we're going to be here from 8 to 9. I would recommend including team pictures. This can be like throwback stuff or recent ones, just so they can see that your team is the one putting it out there. And they want to come see your team and who you are. So that's my recommendation.
Yeah, you can always find a really funny picture from a competition where the students are excited and have that be the reaction to the announcement, even if it is kind of mundane. The hope is that if you're posting it to social media, it's something relevant and not the unfortunate post that I think we all had to make in March of, our season is over. But even that, you can post a quote or a heart picture or something like that. Do you think it's easy to get students engaged in doing team social media? How do I find students to do it on my team? Megan, how did you get involved in running the social media for Buzz?
I was very enthusiastic to join the team before I was even in high school, so I would look at their social media often and see what they were up to and just kind of keep an eye out. So a way to get students to be interested is I would definitely suggest asking anyone if they want to be a part of like a business management or media type deal. So that would cover like newsletter, website, if you wanted to do those, and your social medias. It's just a matter of person to person because some people might not want anything to do with social media, and then some kids, when presented with the opportunity, would jump and be like, yes, oh my gosh, yes. So definitely trying to start a sub team just to get a hold on that stuff and putting it out there to get people engaged and giving just a little bit of guidance. So that would be good, like having a content calendar, even if people aren't super excited to want to post. If you have a content calendar, you know when you need to post and you know when you should post. So they don't have to be super into it, but as long as you get stuff out there, and I think the more engagement that you get back, the more excited students will be to post about it because it's like, well, people are actually seeing this. So.
Yeah, and I think if your students don't know if they're going to like doing it, you can always give them like a week or two to try it out. Seeing if you gave them the credentials for a week and they posted once, be like, okay, maybe it's not for you. But especially if the student has their own personal social media accounts and they're very active on that, it's a little more second nature to them to then be posting about the team. If a student doesn't have their own social media at all, they might not be the best fit. So when students, especially if you have a really good social media presence, I think that can influence students to join the team, and then they get excited about what brought them to the team, which could be fun posts, pictures on Instagram or fun stories on Instagram. Okay. Brand Twitter like Wendy's, Arby's, etc. is very informal and popular, but many FIRST teams take a more serious tone. Any idea where the right balance is? I do have a presentation at 4 on branding, and I am going to talk a lot about voice and tone and personality there. I think that because FIRST is an exciting program for youth, that you can be more informal, but maybe not quite like Wendy's. Wendy's is the word I want to use is snarky and not nice all the time, but that's their thing. That's what makes people follow them. So I would not go that direction with your team. I would definitely try to be excited. Megan, how often do you use like I and we versus more of a kind of professional third person?
We don't really use third person at all. We don't say, today Buzz attended this. We try and make it personable and say, we did this today. Never I, because you never want it to seem like it's only one person running the account. You want to speak for everyone in the team as a whole, so you want to put stuff out there that's exciting to everyone. So say, we did this. We are interested in this. But the only time that we use third person is when we are speaking about like individual sub-teams. So say our programming sub-team does something, we want to say, programming did this.
Awesome. Let's see if there's a few more. So we've only got a few minutes left. Should we ask our students to signal boost our team social media? Do the different members of Buzz tweet their own information about, like Buzz, follow Buzz, I'm part of Buzz?
We have our students occasionally signal boost. So I know we've done it a couple times for our FTC team because that doesn't have as large of a following as Buzz does. Mm-hmm. So just like when it's just students, you could say, hey, if you have a social media and if you want to, you should tag our team on your story or something and tell your friends to go follow because our content is interesting and you might want to see it. Yeah. But it's really up to you deciding what's appropriate because you don't want to force anyone to disclose what team they're on if they don't want to. But definitely recommend that because you will get a lot more reach and most likely the students' friends will see it and you may get more members who want to join your team if it is to the same age group. So definitely.
Awesome. And then these are kind of related, are there things a team can do with their overall brand to improve their social media impact? Again, I'll talk a little bit more about brand later, but I think when you talk about your brand, so we're a FIRST Robotics team, but which means that we're part of the FIRST brand, and then we also all have our own brand. Buzz is a Hall of Fame team, so there's something to uphold there. And Athena's Warriors is a little younger. We've been around for only 10 years. Only 10 years. And so kind of getting into posting about outreach and STEM is just so important to, like, why are you a team? Why do you exist? And that can really tie into what is your mission? What is your brand? One last question was, how important is the team's website and their overall social media strategy? Super important because social, right? We're engaging, we're liking, we're commenting, we're sharing. But if you want them to do something, you want them to sponsor your team, join your team, learn more about your team, you should be linking back to your website to give them that information where you can capture maybe their contact information, get them to subscribe to your newsletter. So it really depends on, like, are you on social media to just say, I'm a team and I'm here? Or are you on social media to have them do something with your team? And if you determine through your content strategy and your social media team, or maybe it's your business team, that the goal of social media is to get more sponsors and therefore get more donations for the team, then all of your posts can focus on that. And you can bring them back to your website to give them more. So that short Twitter post where it's just a little tidbit and then a link to, that link should, as often as possible, be your team website. Megan, you have anything to add to that? Now that you have a new website?
Our website has definitely been very important because the first thing people usually go to when they're trying to find more information about your team is looking you up on Google. And then if you have a out-of-date website, which we had for quite a while, it hadn't been updated for quite a few years, people will be like, hey, are you still a team? And then most likely they're gonna not really look into your social media if they can't find any information about you that's relevant. But if you have your website out there, it doesn't have to be anything huge. You don't have to do any manual coding. We actually ran through Google Sites and we rerouted it through our old domain name. So that was coded with CSS and Java, and no one really knew how to do that because everyone who knew had left the team multiple years prior. So it's just, it has to be something simple. Make it look put together and clean, and that's website is very important with team discovery.
Awesome. So yes, I think we're all done. Let's bring up our team accounts. We connected them all to make sure that They're the same. So it's at FRC 175 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Team 3182 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We wanted it to be very consistent across the board, so we're all easy to find. Next up, you're going to learn about leveraging FIRST in college admissions in just about 10 minutes. And then funny, we'll end the day with a website workshop and branding. So lots more on this channel to all tie into how you market your team. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
James.